Well, good morning, and you can see us live right now on our Facebook. We're on YouTube as well, and yeah,
Are we
people
on the
see
X?
our
Are we
faces.
on the
We're on the. I think
Instagrams?
we're on the X as well.
Best place, Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, so
WSJM.
go check that out. But yeah, we're just trying some things out, seeing what we can do to
How
make
many people we can scare.
Yeah, exactly. Because because since you are a big TV star now, we thought, hey, we need to live stream this stuff and put our faces
I
out
asked
there.
Howie Mandel.
Is that why he has that lighted mirror in his office?
Yep, he's got a whole dressing room and all kinds of stuff in there. So
boy.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
boy.
what's going on. Big star over here. But yeah, the other voice you hear and the other person you see is Dave Wolf, our sports director.
Hi,
and
Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Quit looking at yourself on the camera.
Yeah.
I can't see that.
All right.
I don't have my glasses on.
You've been very busy getting ready for this football season, but something really cool that you have put together is a preview of a lot of our Southwest Michigan football teams, and it's
Pretty much everybody.
pretty much everybody. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, because you put a lot of work into that, and that takes a lot of behind the scenes work too, because you had to communicate with a lot of area coaches, athletic directors, to put this all together.
Started about a month and a half ago. Brett Witkowski, who does the games for WSJM, we got together about a month ago, and more than a month and a half ago, and just said, we don't really have a big high school football preview anymore.
Sure.
The paper used to have one, but theirs was maybe 2 pages last year, and there's still 8 billion teams in Southwest Michigan.
Right.
That we want to, at least highlight and touch on.
Yeah.
So we said, well, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do a high school football preview. So we confabbed and put a questionnaire together for the area coaches. We got the questionnaire done. I went and got the email addresses of every coach in 3 counties, Berrien, Van Buren, and Cass counties, plus a couple other ones that are key to the area, and got their email address, guys, database together, sent those out at the end of July, and got a few back really, really quickly, and then they started to come in more and more as the season approached, and with the practices beginning, got more and more, and I sent out the link a couple of times. Still, some didn't come in quite as early as I'd liked, but started writing previews of these of the area teams. I got one the day of their conferences posted.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, hey, we might have missed out on this. Here's my thing. So got that in. So I've got for all of our area conferences, including the 8-man conferences, the independent teams, which for our area really is Coloma, but up in Kalamazoo, that's Loy Norris and Bell Lake, both members of the SMAC conference and other sports, but they're independent for football right now.
Sure.
We got the SAC, and it's Coloma, Waterville Leeds, Southwest 10, which was Hartford, Cassopolis. The 8-man teams, Our Lady of the Lake, which is combined with Michigan Lutheran and Countryside, and I think Waterville Grace Christian for one brief period. The Twin City Sharks, New Buffalo, and River Valley are the Red Arrow Raiders. And so, Bridgman, and I got, of course, the SMAC with St. Joe Lakeshore, the Lakeland with Benton Harbor, and got all these conferences together. And just all I asked for was a questionnaire, and I got a ton of information from our area coaches, and I feel pretty good about that, because they want their kids to be exposed.
Yeah.
They want their kids to be, highlighted, and I was proud to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some great teams. Talk about the Coloma aspect. They didn't have a varsity team last year, and now they do this year. But for those people that don't, know how high school football schedules usually go, you usually do a 2-year contract with a school that you're going to compete with. So that kind of put them in this weird sort of, hey, who wants to play us kind of things with their schedule. So that's going to be a little weird for the Coloma area, right?
Yeah, Coloma is a member of the SAC. They couldn't field a varsity team last year because they didn't have enough players. So they did a junior varsity team last year. So that was, a way to keep the program going.
Sure.
And they did. So now they're back playing varsity football, and Community Stadium will be lit up once again out in Coloma. That's a good thing. But because of those, they didn't complete a schedule last year. the area teams that they would have played had to fill in that schedule with somebody else. And usually, like you said, that's a 2-year deal for those teams. And we'll go here this year, but you're going to come by us next year, or vice versa. So Coloma really couldn't get back into the SAC full time because of those contracts that other schools had to deal with. So it's an independent schedule for Coloma this year, which kind of gives them an opportunity to handpick their schedule a little bit. I think they are still playing Waterville, which is good because you need that rivalry.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Rivalry game, having a rivalry game to look forward to, especially when you didn't play it last year, is a big thing. And Coloma and Waterloo, that's the big thing every year.
Absolutely. And of course, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as you went through and you got the previews to talk about every single team and every single conference, and you've got all of them?
Not all of them. There's a couple teams that didn't send in their reply.
We don't have to call them out here, but if you go to the website and you see these previews and you notice yours is missing, contact your athletic director and say, hey, get this information to Dave Wolf. We'll put it up on the website. But if I'm a parent and I have a young person in on one of these sports teams, I know what my son's team looks like, but I want to know what the other team looks like. Am I going to get that here?
Yep. You'll know exactly. And
is it like a scouting report?
It's not a complete scouting report. I mean, I'm not going to show up at your practice and film you and give you the New England Patriots version.
You were at practices. Dave Wolf went on vacation earlier this season. What did he do? Did he go to Tahiti? Did he go to Bahamas? No, he went to scout teams.
Oh yeah, I did that.
So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
It was a lot cooler back then too.
Told you didn't have to come in and you'd melt today.
Well, when it's hot out as it is, I immediately thought of the coldest place I wanted to go, and the cold storage place in Eau Claire wouldn't let me in, so I figured this was the next best thing. Yeah. I haven't been in this building for roughly 3 years because of COVID and my health issues.
Right.
This building is freezing.
It's great.
Oh yeah, it's always cold. I always have an emergency sweater, even if it is 90 some degrees outside. I always have to have light jacket or sweater.
The window up front is fogged up.
That's true. Yeah.
I think that's common everywhere right now, but
it's nice. Of course, we have Lakeshore. Their first game is today. Is that correct?
It's today at 5:00, and good luck to Lakeshore and Zeeland West, because with this heat warning, that they're probably going to be stopping that game a lot for water breaks and things like that. Of course, it might not be able to be played because there's a rule from the MHSA is if the heat index is above a certain level, then they have to stop. So there's serious problems with that game today. And the problem with Lakeshore also is Lakeshore and Zeeland West is followed by another game at Zeeland Stadium. It's Zeeland East and Williamston. So they have a doubleheader at Zeeland Stadium tonight. So Lakeshore is the first game at 5:00. So that is a little scheduling nightmare for Zeeland if they have to postpone either or both games.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
So what can we look forward to for, because I know we'll talk a little bit more St. Joe football with Brett Witkowski tomorrow morning, but I mean, kind of give us a little bit of an overview for especially the St. Joe Lakeshore. How are those teams going to look this year?
Lakeshore is kind of in I don't want to say a rebuilding year, but they're trying to retool themselves after really a disappointing year last year. Lakeshore went 3-6 last year. They did not win a game at home.
Oh, wow.
And the problem with Lakeshore is they have a quarterback issue. The quarterback issue was kind of brought out last year when their starting quarterback, Ryan Korfmacher, broke his leg against Battle Creek Lakeview. Then they've played the last 3 games of the season without a real quarterback. Now they've had an off season to get a quarterback. And I talked to Al Pashoka a couple days ago. Lakeshore's starting quarterback is out with a broken finger.
Oh,
so Lakeshore's already lost their top quarterback and going on to their second quarterback for a game against Zeeland West tonight, who they lost to 66-15 last year.
And you're not just saying this because you're wearing a St. Joe High School Bears shirt.
No, this is the fact that hit you right in the face for Lakeshore tonight.
Is there backup quarterback? Is he a freshman?
No, he's an upperclassman, just like their starting quarterback. And see, I say that because Lakeshore hasn't said who the starting quarterback is. So it's a kind of a
game time decision.
Game time decision would have been a game time decision, but now we know who it is. It'll be the backup and we just don't know who that is yet.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll have that to look forward to. You'll be able to hear that game on 97.5 Wine Country with Al Pashoka and Denny Canola having the call for that one. But then tomorrow we have St. Joe Bears football, and I know you've been kind of watching that as well. How are they looking this year?
St. Joe is a team that's kind of got questions right now. St. Joe lost 28 seniors from last year.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The Bears only returned 2 starters on offense, 2 starters on defense. And I talked to St. Joe coach Andrew Prattley, and the good news for St. Joe is the 2 returners on offense are on the front line. And St. Joe traditionally has a very good offensive line. And when you lose as much skill positions from St. Joe like they did last year, then you want to have that stability up front, especially when you have a new quarterback that barely played last year.
Sure.
And you got running backs that barely ran the ball last year and wide receivers that barely caught the ball last year. So St. Joe got questions. And the fact is they're playing a Niles team that is potentially about to, bust out.
Yeah.
Niles is they were 6-5 last year, but they gave Edwardsburg a run for the money. Niles went 6-5 without playing a single game at home last year.
Yep.
Niles did not play at home. They could not play their season at home because they had the turf being installed. It was started late. They played a home game at Berrien Springs. They played 2 home games at St. Joe. They played 1 home game at Paw Paw, and they were supposed to be at hosting Paw Paw. So they played their homecoming game against Paw Paw at Paw Paw.
Wow.
So kind of a rough struggle for Niles last year, but this year they return, and kind of misleading numbers, but Coach Shaw told us he's returning 14 starters on offense. Well, you start 11, but they worked so many kids in and out of the lineup into rotation that they have 14 coming back. They've got 10 coming back on defense, and they've got their kids back on their 3rd year of running this offense. First year running the wing T offense that they ran. It's kind of hard to understand if you're your first year. They picked up better on it last year. Now they've had their 3rd season on it. And so you got a team running their 3rd year on this offense and really finally getting into full gear against a St. Joe team that's looking for, okay, are these the right guys? These are not the 28 guys we lost last year. Who's going to run the ball? Who's going to be the quarterback? St. Joe has nothing like Lakeshore, whereas they're going to be rotating 2 different quarterbacks.
Yeah. What about Benton Harbor? How are they looking this year?
Benton Harbor, another team that a lot of area teams are expecting big things out of. You ask a lot of the other Lakeland Conference coaches, Berrien Springs and Buchanan and Dowagiac and Brandywine, I'll say Benton Harbor could be a sleeper in this conference. And I don't really mean sleeper, but they are a team that could be also busting out. Benton Harbor has not won a conference title since 1984, and that string could be ending this year.
Wow.
I admit the Lakeland is only 5 teams, but a conference title is a conference title.
Exactly. Yeah. That's something to look forward to. I mean, I know it's a busy time getting ready for the season, and this week leading up to it, not good when all these teams had to practice through this hot heat. But it's interesting to see what all these teams can do. Where can we find all these previews, Dave?
They were originally posted on WSJMsports.com, and I posted them late last night on WSJM.com. So you can see it. Just the big graphic says WSJM High School Football Previews, 2023 High School Football Previews. The links are there to the stories from WSJMsports.com. So you can go right there, view each one of them, scroll down, print it, put it on your fridge if your kid's name is mentioned. If you want, I'll come out and autograph it. But
very nice.
Oh, Dave Wolf's doing autographs now? Oh,
see?
my gosh. Look at that. I need to start doing that,
Dave,
too.
you did a lot of great work on these. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for putting the summaries together. We know a lot of people appreciate them. No one else does it like this in the area. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, go check
absolutely.
that out. Check that out at WSJM.com and WSJMsports.com. And you'll be able to hear, like we said, Lakeshore football on 97.5 Y Country coming up later tonight. And then you can also hear St. Joe Bears football all season long right here on 94.9 WSJM.
Bloomberg Business Minute on WSJM is brought to you by Sturgis Bank and Trust. Let's grow together. Serving Berrien Branch, Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, and Van Buren counties. Now with 2 new locations in St. Joseph, downtown, and on Cleveland Avenue. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. NVIDIA shares look set to jump higher at the opening bell after delivering sales that topped its own lofty forecasts on the strength in demand for all things artificial intelligence. Revenue in the latest quarter more than doubled from a year ago. Stocks rebounded yesterday in the run-up to NVIDIA's earnings. Gains on Wall Street range from around 0.5% for the Dow to 1.6% for the NASDAQ. Boeing has discovered that its largest supplier improperly drilled holes in a component that helps maintain cabin pressure of the 737 MAX jet, threatening delivery targets for the company's bestseller. The FAA says the latest issue for the jet is not a safety threat. The latest problem caps a troubled history for the MAX. The jet was grounded by regulators worldwide after deadly crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia in 2018 and 2019, which killed the hundreds of passengers on board. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Jonny and Ken on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
Good morning, right around 7:30, and today is going to be a hot day.
Yeah.
Heat advisory. We've got that. That's going to last all the way till like tonight, right?
Well, so we've got the heat advisory right now till 11 o'clock, and then an extreme heat warning, excessive heat warning, I should say, in effect from 11 o'clock till midnight. So whatever it is, it's going to be hot. It's going to be really hot. We're going to see triple-digit heat indexes around this area. Yep. We're not going to see them. We're going to feel them. You're going to see them.
Yeah.
Because the heat waves and the hazy, hot, humid will be there.
It was so hot, and I know it's going to be that way today all day, that me wearing glasses, I'm going to walk outside and I'm going to have to wait for a few seconds because I'm going to be all fogged up.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened to me this morning.
So be mindful of that, all of you glasses wearers. It is going to be cloudy tonight and low down to 72. It will cool down.
Yes.
Like tomorrow, honestly, will probably be like, you want to wear a sweater because it's going to be 80. And then the weekend.
It's going to be chilly.
Yeah, the weekend's going to be chilly. It's going to be like low to mid 70s.
It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be great.
Beautiful again.
We have still a lot to get to. We had a great conversation just a bit ago with Dave Wolf, our sports director. Go check out those previews at WSJM.com. But what do we got coming up next?
Oh, one of the things that we should probably touch on this morning, the Department of Justice announcing that they have just gone across the nation and put a whole bunch of new cases on the docket for COVID-19 fraud, including places in Michigan.
All right. Well, we'll touch on that. But also, by the way, you can see us live at WSJM Facebook page, as well as our YouTube, and I believe we're on X. I don't know. We've got, should we see how many watchers we have right now?
Well, we can do that, and we can also, should we do something exclusive when the microphones for the radio are off? We can talk about something offline there.
Oh, we might have to do that. We have news that we can get to right now and see what's going on here in our community.
Okay.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
In the WSJM Newsroom, I'm Michael Arney. The Palisades Economic Recovery Team is planning a meeting next week to present the final draft of its economic assessment of the Palisades nuclear power plant closure. Market Van Buren's Sarah Snowing tells us the report is the work of a team made up of the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, Connexus Group, Michigan Works, and Market Van Buren. The group was formed in anticipation of the plant's closure to study the likely effects.
What's being presented now is a full final report that blends both the hard numbers of the modeling looking at the impact of the plant closure, and then also the narrative that we've gotten from the community that provides context for these numbers, what this impact is actually going to mean for Van Buren, Cass, and Berrien counties.
Although there is now a possibility the Palisades will reopen, Snowing says it's still important to plan for its eventual closure, whether it's now or decades to come. We have a link for attending the meeting, which will be Monday at 1 on our website. With the new school year just about here, Michigan students are being reminded of the OK to Say tip line. OK to Say was launched in 2014 as a way for students to anonymously seek help with threatening situations in their schools. Program Administrator Mary Gager Drew tells us OK to Say has received more than 45,000 tips Those often lead to help for the affected students.
Whether it's a student who's maybe struggling with self-harm, thoughts of suicide, students who are being mistreated by their peers, students who are abusing drugs or alcohol. The truth is, kids know what's going on in their school.
The most common reports are about suicidal thoughts or self-harm. Other common reasons for tips are bullying, drugs, and anxiety. Gager Drew says it's important for students to know about the service and know help will be on the way.
We've been able to prevent school violent attacks, getting kids the help they need when they were thinking of suicide. So there have been a number of positive interventions that have occurred because kids are doing the right thing.
When a tip is submitted to OK to Say, the information is forwarded to the school, police, or another entity. Gager Drew says the goal is not to get anyone in trouble, but to help. With school starting back up, the program will be making presentations in schools to keep students aware. To submit a tip to OK to Say, a student can just text 652-729 or OK to Say. Berrien County Commissioner Chokwe Pitchford says a new committee he's joined will help counties and businesses nationwide craft policies to respond to the emergence of artificial intelligence. Pitchford tells us he was invited to join the National Association of Counties AI Committee while at a conference this year. The committee has several aspects of AI to consider, from the use of ChatGPT to how AI affects young people. Pitchford is especially interested in how it could affect grant writing at the county level. For example, he says, what if someone works hard for weeks crafting a grant application?
And then another person takes 45 minutes. They ask ChatGPT to put together a synopsis and a first draft of all the questions that the grant may ask. And they submit that same grant in about an hour and a half that it took the other person 9 hours to do. And they end up getting awarded that grant because technically the application is better. And I don't know if that is a society that we want to live in where hard work is not being rewarded.
Pitchford wonders what implications AI will have for equity. He says the AI committee has already met in Texas. Its next meeting is in Florida in October. The goal is to have a report with recommendations for counties and best practices for businesses by next summer. The Pokagon Band of Potawatomi is planning its annual powwow for September 2nd and 3rd. The band's Adela Galzon Guerrero tells us it's a celebration open to everyone that will explore culture while having fun.
A lot of planning goes into a powwow, and during that time of all our planning, we're really thinking about how can we make people feel welcome.
Guests are coming from all over the country, some as far away as Alaska. Galzon Guerrero says there will be crafts, a whole lot of dancing, and food.
From traditional foods like wild rice and also some more contemporary, so like fry bread, but it's all native foods and homemade, so really delicious. If you're new to powwows, I do suggest trying these.
Galzon Guerrero says the dancers compete for cash prizes. It is free to attend the powwow. It will be held at the Pokagon Rogers Lake Campground on Sink Road in Dowagiac Labor Day weekend. In the WSJM Newsroom, I'm Michael Arning.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. Heavy rains led to a flash flood warning in southeast Michigan, which has just ended. Forecasters say between 1 and 3 inches of rain fell across Metro Detroit overnight. DTE Energy is now dealing with more than 41,000 power outages. Some schools in West Michigan have either called off classes or only have a half day because of the heat expected to be in the 90s today. The heat index is expected to go over 100 degrees in southern lower Michigan. Was it a joke, or were 3 men on trial for taking part in a plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer, the new founding fathers? Prosecutors told jurors in a northern Michigan courtroom that brothers Michael and William Knoll and Paul Molitor didn't like the government and wanted to start a civil war and murder state police troopers who were with the governor. The attorney for Molitor said he thought the plot was a dark joke and was unaware of what was going on. An FBI agent is expected to testify today. I'm Beth Fisher for the Michigan News Network.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
All contractors working with Michigan businesses can win more projects by including energy-efficient rebates in your proposals. These rebates are provided by Michigan utility companies for contractors and customers completing construction projects using energy-efficient equipment. DNV, our local sponsor, can help you start your rebate journey. Visit dnvtradeally.com to learn how energy-efficient rebates can help you win more bids. That's dnvtradeally.com.
Instead of appearing in last night's Republican presidential debate in Milwaukee, former President Trump is said to surrender in Georgia today for allegedly conspiring, along with 18 others, to try and overturn the 2020 election.
Days before his surrender, Donald Trump sat for an interview with former Fox primetime host Tucker Carlson. Trump, now the 2024 Republican presidential frontrunner, telling Carlson his legal troubles are only boosting his voter support and slamming Fulton County's top prosecutor, Fani Willis, who handed Trump his fourth criminal indictment this year.
The people see it like this horrible district attorney. She said, basically, I don't have any right to challenge an election.
ABC's Justin Finch. A deadly shooting at a Los Angeles area biker bar last night. 3 killed plus the gunman shot dead by sheriff's deputies. In Russia, mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin may be dead in the downing of a plane weeks after trying to orchestrate a government coup. I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Major League Baseball from Wednesday. Yan Gomes had an RBI single in the top of the 8th inning to give the Cubs a 5-4 lead. And Nico Hunter's sac fly in the 9th gave the Cubs a 6-4 win over the Tigers. Kerry Carpenter had a grand slam for Detroit. The White Sox ended the Seattle Mariners' 8-game winning streak with a 5-4 win in 10 innings. Tonight, the Tigers are off, the Cubs are in Pittsburgh, and the White Sox are home against Oakland. NFL. Cedar Rapids beat South Bend 8-4. Fort Wayne over Great Lakes 6-3, and Peoria over West Michigan 8-7 in 10 innings. And junior college sports yesterday, women's soccer was Lake Michigan College over Marion until 3-0. LMC getting goals from Aaliyah Hedstrom, Mila Kratarba, and Ellie Merson. The men's game was suspended because of the heat. With sports, I'm Dave Wolf.
And now for an exclusive breaking news. For those of you that are watching us on our Facebook as well as our YouTube and other social links, you can see us, and we want to talk to you about a few things that a little extra stuff that we're finding in the news. And one of the big things is this mercenary guy Prigozhin.
Oh my goodness!
Who was he starting to do a revolt against Russia? What was his plan?
There was a time 2 months ago when Yevgeny Prigozhin, who's the head of the Wagner mercenary group, it's kind of the hit for hire group that Putin has in Russia. There was a time 2 months ago when he got so frustrated, reportedly, with Russia's military leadership on the war in Ukraine that he turned his troops around and started marching toward Moscow.
Okay.
Saying, this is enough. We've had enough. We're coming to Moscow.
And then he kind of said, well, maybe not.
There were apparently what they would call at the time sensible minds prevailed and stopped the Russia on Russia battle that was seemingly going to take place within a matter of hours. Stopped a lot of bloodshed. Putin and Prigozhin worked out a deal where, okay, Prigozhin, you can't do this, but I'm not going to punish you. You can go into exile, maybe in Belarus, and hang out there. Well, everyone thought, okay, this is calm for the moment, but Putin is the master of revenge. And so,
and really, the guy they said he was going to Belarus, but he kind of never really did. He maybe stopped there and said, hey, turn around, let's go back to Russia, because he just kept showing up in Russia.
He has a private jet. He had a private jet, and they tracked the jet, and it kept going back and forth from Russia, Belarus, who knows where else. But what we saw in the news yesterday was a plane falling out of the sky, a smoke trail, and then it was immediately reported by sides that were loyal to the Wagner group and to Putin. Both sides were reporting Prigozhin's dead.
Wow.
He and one of his top military commanders, at least one of his top military commanders, were among the 10 people on board that private jet that who knows what happened, but all of a sudden it fell out of the sky.
Do they think that
absolutely.
obviously that Russia probably has something to do with it?
Well, there's little doubt that again, because Putin is the master of cold revenge, dish best eaten cold, that he orchestrated something that happened and resulted in the plane crash. So 2 months to the day from when they struck this deal on Prigozhin in Russia, he's dead.
Wow,
that's the report.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
if he comes back from the dead, that'll be amazing. But there you go.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what ends up happening with that. But we will we'll come back on the air on the radio. By the way, you can listen at WSJM.com and the WSJM app as well if you're in Southwest Michigan at 94.9 WSJM. But it's going to be a hot day today.
Yes.
The heat advisory, the heat index, and all of that stuff says somewhere around 110. Which I don't know. What do you do to stay cool?
I stay inside where the air conditioning is, and I try to coach people not to leave the back door open. You know, it's like, oh, feel how hot it is out here. No, close the door, please. My dog is the biggest offender because he thinks about, oh, do I want to go outside? It's kind of hot out there. I don't know.
And he's a furry. He's a bit of a furry dog.
He's a Wookiee. Yeah, he's a little Wookiee, and hair grooming is. It's a little off. It's probably next week, so he's ready for a cut.
Oh man,
yeah.
My neighbor dog. It's like he's got a shag carpet, and I just want to. I want to shear him like a sheep, and they do that every once in a while. Yeah. They'll take him to the groomer, but his fur gets so tangled up and matted so quickly that a lot of times they just have to buzz the whole thing and shear him down, and he looks like a totally different dog. It's adorable. But kind of weird to see that. But my dog luckily doesn't have an undercoat.
Okay.
So Plinko's okay. Plus he's white. But yeah, he doesn't do well in the heat.
Are you watering him?
No, I'm not. But we do keep bowls of water in places where we can. We usually fill up a bowl when he's outside for a little bit. But even in the house.
How old's Plinko?
16 years old, 16 in a few months now. So we were trying to do the calculations of what his exact age is in dog years, like over 107. So yeah, he's an old dog.
Oh boy. Should we get back on the radio?
Yeah, we should. We'll be back here in just a couple of seconds. Let's find out what's going on in the weather here real quick.
90s around 98. Heat index values over 100 degrees today. And along the lakeshore, only a little bit cooler in the upper 80s. But again, feel like temperatures will be over 100. We see a slight chance of a shower and thunderstorm tonight down to 72. And tomorrow, slight chance of rain, partly sunny, a little bit more comfortable at 85. I'm meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
Hi, this is Pat Moody, and you're listening to The Morning Show with Jonny Ken on 94.9 WSJM.
You certainly are, and you can be part of the show anytime. You can call 925-WSJM. You can email letstalk@WSJM.com. You can even comment on our video that we actually are live right now, and 0 people are watching at the moment.
That's beautiful. That's because we're just starting out.
Yeah, we're just starting out. We're just playing around and seeing, because we're in the multimedia world, we want to be big stars someday on YouTube and on social media. But that's just a great way for you not only to see us and what we do on the show, but also we just did a little behind the scenes.
We did
extra story, I guess you would say, a social exclusive.
So you can see it and hear it if you tune in right now, and it'll be posted later.
Yep.
So if you missed it, you can go back and see it.
Absolutely. A lot of things going on in the news this morning that we should talk about. One of the biggest things is we know when the pandemic was going on, there was a lot of money that was being sent out to a lot of different people and organizations and businesses and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Department of Justice says, hey, wait a minute. Remember that money we gave you?
Yeah.
So what's the latest on that?
Justice Department announcing this week the results of a long-term coordinated nationwide enforcement action to combat COVID-19 fraud, which included 718 enforcement actions.
Oh, my.
Yeah, they've been busy, including federal criminal charges against 370 defendants for offenses related to over $836 million in alleged COVID-19 fraud.
Wow.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, a lot of money was going out to help people in the country during COVID because stuff got shut down, things were changing, going upside down. So the government made the decision, we're going to send out assistance.
Yeah.
A lot of that assistance apparently ended up in the hands of fraudsters.
So basically people that said, hey, I need this money. Hey, I'm going to fill out this form, but I don't really need it.
Well, yeah, the Justice Department has now seized over $1.4 billion in COVID-19 relief funds that criminals, they say, had stolen, and they've charged over 3,000 defendants with crimes in federal districts across the country. That's according to Attorney General Merrick Garland. He says the latest action involving over 300 defendants and over $830 million in alleged fraud should send a clear message that the public health emergency may have ended, but the Justice Department's work is just beginning.
Now, what happens to that money that they seize? Where does that go?
They'll send it back to the federal government, and they'll figure out what to do with it next. They're no longer, they said, we're even going to claw back some of that COVID assistance. So I doubt it's going to go back to COVID type of assistance, but it's going to go back into the Treasury.
Yeah, because there was that one point where they basically said, if you don't use it, you lose it.
That's right.
If you don't have it allocated
So
for something already, everybody's like, hey, how about we put together that proposal that we were talking about doing? And because, a lot of these entities had that money, and it wasn't like, it was to help them improve something, and there was certain things within that agreement, and a lot of people said, yeah, we'll just kind of put that in the till and hold on to that for a while. And they said, you got to
obligate it. You got to use it because the idea was, kickstart the economy in areas where they were getting hit the hardest. But with this action, more than 50 U.S. attorneys' offices, including the COVID-19 fraud enforcement strike zones, were involved. It did involve both the eastern and the western districts of Michigan. They prosecuted fraud cases. So this was a big deal all across the nation. So,
all right. Well, we'll keep you updated on that at WSJM.com, and also staying in the legal realm.
Yes.
Court's ruling in favor of 3M.
Yeah, Michigan Court of Appeals has struck down state regulators' stricter drinking water rules on potentially health-harming nonstick forever chemicals, also known as PFAS, finding that regulators did not adequately consider the costs to businesses to comply with the new rules. The appellate court, in a ruling published this week, upheld a finding that the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, EGLE, should have better considered that its new rules to restrict PFAS compounds in drinking water also impacted requirements to clean up the compounds in groundwater. 3M sued on this. Under Michigan's Administrative Procedures Act of 1969, state agencies are required to prepare a regulatory impact statement that includes an estimate of how much compliance with the proposed rules will cost. The court found that they didn't do it or didn't do it enough. It was a unanimous court ruling, so I'm sure we'll see this come back again, but it'll just take a little bit longer.
And then now what do we do? You know, when we have all those chemicals that we can't filter out, what they're going to have to come up with a filter that filters that stuff.
They do have, I did see that there is a PFAS destroyer thing that was being piloted in the Grand Rapids area.
Yeah.
It was very encouraging what they were doing. All they needed to do was scale it up. We'll have to check and see where that's at, because that is encouraging. At the same time, PFAS, there are a lot of questions that are unanswered. What are the health effects? How many health effects? Aren't the things that make up these PFAS already being regulated in other ways? So health departments are, they've got their hands full in understanding what it is, where it is, how to regulate. Can we regulate? Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll check that out. WSJM.com and the WSJM app to stay up to date with all of this news. Here in just a little bit, we will have your Moody on the Market update. What are we going to cover in that one?
Sorry, I was just listening to a noise. What is that noise?
What is that noise?
Is that somebody mowing the lawn outside? Citadel.
Maybe.
Presenting a Sinatra tribute.
Ooh.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Sinatra?
Old Blue Eyes.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll catch you up on that in just a little bit. It's the morning show on 94.9 WSJM.
Hi, I'm Zach East, Vice President of Business Development here at Midwest Family, and I want to invite you to our final free marketing seminar opportunity of the year in partnership with the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber. But it's only for serious local businesses and organizations that want to use marketing effectively to grow in 2024. I'm inviting you to join us for our Really Smart Marketing half-day workshop on Tuesday, September 26th from 8 a.m. to noon at Shadowland Ballroom at the Silver Beach Center in St. Joe. You can register for your free seat right now at ReallySmartMarketingWorkshop.com. That's ReallySmartMarketingWorkshop.com. At this workshop, you'll learn why your business or organization isn't growing as fast as it should, how to turn strangers into your best superhero promoters and fans, and how to achieve a return on your marketing investment in today's world of digital and traditional advertising. Space is limited for this free September 26th half-day workshop, so register now at ReallySmartMarketingWorkshop.com.
When you want to know Southwest Michigan's business, you can find it at moodyonthemarket.com and the Moody on the Market app. Stay in the know by checking out not only those stories by our team of contributors, but also our Moody on the Move series and the awards program, all right there in the palm of your hands and on your screen. It's time now for your Moody on the Market update, brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners agency with locations in St. Joseph and in Niles. And we are doing a tribute to Old Blue Eyes.
Do you want to sing it? Do you want to sing it?
The Fly Me to Blue Moon.
Super Blue Moon.
Super Blue Moon, yeah.
Tribute to Frank Sinatra, Fly Me to the Moon will be presented at the Mendel Center at Lake Michigan College in Benton Harbor on September 9th at 8 p.m. Featured are the Lake Effect Jazz Big Band, Andrew Fisher and Rebecca Selvage, vocalists, and the Citadel Dance Companies. The 8 p.m. show will feature 2 sets highlighting the music of Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra, and similar music from the Golden Age Songbook. Audience and performers alike will experience a jazz nightclub type of atmosphere in the Great Upton Hall. Grand Upton Hall.
It's grand. It's great. It's wonderful. The Lake Effect Jazz Band, 22-piece big band led by Stephen Reed, longtime area performer and retired music educator. Now, the Lake Effect Jazz Big Band performs over 10 summer concerts and is the headliner for the South Haven Jazz Festival. Now, Andrew Fisher, I've had a chance to sing with him. He's a fantastic vocalist. Rebecca Selvage as well.
Nice.
She's amazing. She's also not only a performer, but also a choir and music lecturer over at Lake Michigan College. So this is going to be great. Tickets available, CitadelDMC.org. You can call them 269-925-1099.
That's right. Doors open at 7. There's a cash bar, small plates available for purchase. Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And the Great American Songbook, too. And I even talking with Andrew Fisher about this the other day when he and I were singing for some other stuff. Back when we did that recording, he sang with me. And I said, oh, man, you're doing, Sinatra, but hopefully you throw in some Tony Bennett because Tony Bennett had passed away.
Yes.
You got to throw in some of that or do it in some of that style. But it's going to be great.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, if you love the jazz big band stuff as well as Frank Sinatra, I mean, who doesn't? So you're definitely going to enjoy that. And it's going to be a great time.
Yeah. You think they'll do Mac the Knife?
I don't know.
That'd be fun.
Maybe they might toss that in there. We'll see. Maybe The Girl from Ipanema. Maybe they'll do that one. That's a good one. Solid. So we'll see. Of course, they'll do Fly Me to the Moon. I mean, obviously. So we'll check that out at moodyonthemarket.com and the Moody on the Market app. Your update brought to you by our friends at Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners agency with locations in St. Joseph and in Niles.